Just bringing a harsh new spotlight on Syrian refugees streaming into Europe in wake of the Paris attacks. At least 23 governors in the U.S. now say their state will not accept refugees. In Syracuse, Mayor Stephanie Miner says she still supports them coming here and has been in touch with the White House on security precautions. Interfaith Works, one of the refugee organizations, says we're expecting 60 to 75 Syrians to arrive in the next year. And there are already strict screening procedures in place.
There are 13 checkpoints for people, and so when we say we don't want any Syrians here, we're actually punishing the very people who are the same victims that are the victims in Paris.
A coalition of refugee organizations has a national news conference scheduled for tomorrow to make the case for letting them come in. Well, tonight at Syracuse University, students gathered to remember the victims of recent terror attacks around the globe. In Paris, 129 people killed. In Lebanon last week, a suicide bomber killed 43 and injured hundreds of others. And in Egypt, ISIS has claimed responsibility for downing the Russian plane, killing all 224 people on board just over 2 weeks ago. Now at 11, our Samantha German has more from SU. Sam.
Matt, right behind me, that's where the vigil was held earlier this evening. People came and gathered in front of Hendricks Chapel to pay their respects to the victims who lost their lives in those attacks. Many students and faculty said this vigil tonight was a vigil for peace. Dozens stood together in solitude for a moment of silence as they reflected on the lives lost in the recent terrorist attacks around the world.
In the midst of terror, intimidation, and manipulation that all around our globe that we are facing difficulties.
Students and faculty of all different cultures and backgrounds prayed and lit candles to spread peace in a world they say needs it.
I believe that it's important to come out strong as a community, to support the victims and to understand that this is a global crisis.
Scott Alperin says he knows the feeling of terror all too well. He's from Boston and was in that city during the marathon bombings in 2013.
It always takes a tragedy to see it, but it really is heartwarming in a time of horrible tragedy to see the community come together.
What happened in Paris hit close to home on SU's campus because there was a group of students studying abroad when the terrorists struck. Even with all the reasons to despair, the message of tonight's vigil was a hopeful one.
The future is not terrorism. The future is peace for all people on Earth. It doesn't matter what color you are, where you're from, what your religion happens to be if you have one. It's the idea here was that we could all rally together on something that unites us, and I know that everyone here and everyone on this campus and in this community wants peace.
Now, the students who are currently studying abroad are safe, and the students back here on campus and faculty say they cannot be more grateful for that news. For now, reporting live in Syracuse, I'm Samantha German.
Thank you, Samantha. Appreciate you bringing us that story tonight.